Up with just a few minutes to go, opponents of the border fence say they want construction stopped. Also, the most effective program against illegal immigration is set to expire. We'll have that and more straight ahead. There are new efforts today to save E-Verify. Now, E-Verify is the single most effective government program to fight illegal immigration. Business special interest groups were successful in making sure the funding for the program was deleted from the so-called stimulus package, and now E-Verify is set to expire next month. But supporters have not given up. Bill Tucker reports.
Somewhere between the House and the Senate, E-Verify disappeared from the economic stimulus plan.
Now, let me ask my colleagues, is it the desire of the members of this body that the stimulus money to create jobs, that those jobs should be given to people illegally in the country?
E-Verify is an electronic database run by the Department of Homeland Security that allows employers to check to see if their newly hired employees are legally eligible to work in the U.S. Not everyone was upset. Groups like the ACLU and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce openly and vocally opposed the E-Verify program. They were pleased the program was cut, calling it expensive, bureaucratic, and inaccurate. Yet no politician seems to want to take credit for stripping it out of the bill. The Congressional Hispanic Caucus has sent a letter to the congressional leadership opposing E-Verify, but efforts to reach them for comment or clarification by Lou Dobbs tonight were unsuccessful. Some politicians tried to act like they support it, even if they didn't. One key senator sounded almost apologetic to Senator Sessions for not including it.
It's a good idea. It got dropped, or he didn't get a chance to offer it, I think was the case. I know how he feels.
E-Verify is free to employers and claims an accuracy rate of 99.6%. But critics say that's not good enough. Yet supporters highlight it.
The accuracy argument is a complete red herring. This is the most accurate database and most effective and efficient program that the United States has ever assembled, indeed that any government has ever assembled. It's ironic that one time when the federal government gets it right and has something that's really, really working, some people in Congress are trying to kill it.
Other expressed reasons for opposition include that it slows the hiring process. But on the E-Verify website, it clearly noted that, quote, the earliest the employer may initiate a query is after an individual accepts an offer of employment, end quote.
Now, the bottom line is the program was cut. And the reason that matters is that E-Verify's current authorization expires on March 6th, Kitty.
Bill, will there be a last-minute safe? How might this shape up?
Well, there's some talk, and a Republican staffer I spoke with today says they believe there's going to be a standalone bill that's going to be put out there in Congress. But she also told me expect a lot of horse trading because Democrats are aware. In fact, a lot of Democrats support this program, but they're going to use it for leverage. So they expect the standalone to suddenly become glommed up with a bunch of different amendments on it as well.
We will keep our eye on that, I'm sure. Thanks very much, Bill Tucker. Well, as we have been reporting, E-Verify is the single most effective government program to fight illegal immigration. Today, more than 100,000 businesses across the country use E-Verify. Arizona has the largest number of businesses using the program. That's followed by California, Georgia, Texas, and Colorado. It's worth mentioning again, E-Verify is highly accurate. The Department of Homeland Security says 99.6% of qualified employees are cleared without delay. Deadly drug cartel violence exploded again this weekend in Mexico. The youngest victim was just 2 years old. Now, the boy was killed when suspected drug hitmen murdered a state police officer and 10 members of his family, including 5 children. In Mexico City, police found the decapitated bodies of 2 women in the trunk of a car, and their severed heads were in a cooler on the back seat. Close to 6,000 people were killed in drug-related violence in Mexico in the past year, and that violence is spilling into this country. The FBI's latest report on gang violence says there are over 1 million gang members in the United States, many with direct links to Mexican drug cartels. Well, there's new evidence tonight that drug trafficking from Mexico continues to be a threat to our war on drugs. The Mexican Navy this weekend intercepting a fishing boat carrying 7 tons of cocaine. All 5 crew members were arrested, and they are being held in Mexico. The drug bust, which was coordinated with the U.S. Coast Guard, is the biggest seizure since 2007, when 23 tons of cocaine were discovered on a ship in southern Mexico. Efforts on land to stop drug trafficking often begin with the border fence, and some opponents of the fence are now trying to stop the last few miles from being built. They've even taken their case to the Obama administration. Casey Wyan has our report.
Build it and they won't come, at least not as many. That's the idea behind 670 miles of new border fencing. The last stretches are being completed east of El Paso, Texas.
I am accountable to the citizens of this country to protect them from narcotic trafficking as well as terrorists. So certainly building a fence in this particular area makes sense.
The Border Patrol says additional fencing, more agents, and better technology have reduced illegal alien apprehensions in El Paso from 122,000 in 2006 to just 30,000 last year. Drug seizures are also down. Both, according to the Border Patrol, indicate fewer illegal crossings. Still, some in Texas are suing to halt fence construction, including the city of El Paso. Mayor John Cook's office overlooks the border, and he doesn't like what he sees.
We're not necessarily opposed to the use of fences, but that you should always involve the local communities in decisions about fences that are going to go in their community. And you should be open to suggestions for alternatives to the fencing.
Cook proposed building a dam to keep the Rio Grande full year-round. He says the Bush administration ignored that proposal and the impact on local property owners, the environment, and relations with Mexico. Then there's the cost, an average of $3.9 million per mile of pedestrian fence and $1 million a mile for vehicle barriers, according to the Government Accountability Office.
We understand of the concerns that citizens have of the price tag on this fence. This was a place that was riddled with crime up and down this river. There was a lot of drug trafficking, a lot of crime, a lot of sniper fire towards Border Patrol agents.
This fence and a growing force of Border Patrol agents are all that separate El Paso from Juarez, the epicenter of Mexico's violent drug cartel wars. Despite the increase in fencing and the additional number of agents, the FBI says 40 to 60% of the drugs entering the United States from Mexico still pass through West Texas. But less is coming through El Paso. It consistently ranks among the safest cities of its size in the United States. Another reason the mayor says more fencing is unnecessary.
As soon as they finish this 15-foot high fence, I predict there'll be a maquila open up in Juarez that builds 16-foot high ladders to get over the fence.
The Border Patrol counters the fence is one important tool to divert illegal traffic to areas where it has a tactical advantage. Wednesday night, agents apprehended Saul Peña Gonzalez, a Mexican national wanted for murder in the United States. The Border Patrol says he told them he crossed in New Mexico to avoid the new border fence in Texas. Casey Wyan, CNN, El Paso.
Now, construction of a virtual fence, meanwhile, is expected to begin soon in southern Arizona. The new revamped version of the fence will initially cover about 50 miles along the border. A prototype currently operating in southwest of Tucson has been plagued with problems, and the government has spent more than $400 million over the past 2 years on the virtual fence project.